First of all, Hispanics love Trump. They do.
To the Latino Trump supporters on here, how much do you need to see to realize that these MAGA Trump supporters, white, really don't like you?
Trump all the way.
Are you for Trump?
Absolutely.
So what would you say to someone who says you're Mexican and Trump hates us?
He doesn't hate us. He hates the lawbreakers. He hates the illegals. Don't come here illegally. Welcome. Come. I did. Not illegally.
With Trump rhetoric of the southern border of migrants, why would the Latino population support him in such a way?
Well, think about it like this. Maybe you and I always identify as a Latina, and when I do that, I always think about the fact that my parents are Cuban exiles and Mexican immigrants, right? But there is a sector of Latinos that don't want to see themselves in that way, do not want to see themselves lumped with other immigrants.
President Trump, we love you. We will support you all the way to the end. Thank you for everything you've been doing.
Finish the wall! Finish the wall! Finish the wall! Finish the wall! Finish the wall!
Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's FAFO season in full swing as MAGA Latino Trump supporters are in tears. Well, nothing sweeter like MAGA tears. Imagine voting for someone who promised to make America great again, only to discover their policies might actually target you. MAGA Latinos for Trump are waking up to the harsh reality that they may have voted against their own interests. From mass deportations to denaturalization plan, Trump's vision for America might hit closer to home than they ever expected. Let's dive into the growing controversy and what it means for the MAGA Latino communities that backed him.
To the Latino Trump supporters on here, how much proof do you need to see to realize these people don't like you? How much do you need to see to realize that these MAGA Trump supporters, white, really don't like you and really what they think of you? Now, I know a lot of y'all are Republican, conservative. I have a lot of conservatives in my family. And I know Latinos, a lot of are conservatives because, they're against abortion stuff, which I understand 100%. But do you really think that these people like you, are on your side? You're in fact mistaken. These MAGA Republicans are not the same Republicans you think you follow. This is not George Bush or Dick Cheney. This is a total different group of Republicans. This is a racist, bigoted, wannabe white supremacist group of Republicans. Now, I'm not saying all these Trump supporters are racist, but I'm going to tell you a hell of a lot of them are. You're not white, Latinos for Trump. You're not white. Quit acting like you are. I know a lot of y'all want to be white. You want to be accepted that you're white. But you're not white. A lot of you have ties. Some of y'all can't even speak English right. And you're there supporting Trump. And don't tell me a lot of y'all have ties down south of the border. We all do. I was born in the United States. My mom was born in the United States. No, my grandma wasn't. That's right, my grandma wasn't. She was born in Mexico. When they talk about Latinos south of the border, they're still talking about you. Whether you're born here or not, they're talking about you. These people disrespect you right in your face. They spit right in your face, and you sit there and you eat it all up and accept it. Donald Trump sits there and spits in your face, and you eat it up. Shameful. Embarrassment. I never thought in my whole 50 plus years of life that I would ever see people of color, despite everything people of color have been through, would be siding on the side of white supremacy. Embarrassment. Waltz Harris, 2024. We're going to put an end to this madness and stupidity soon. Waltz Harris, 2024.
Why did so many Latinos vote for Trump? Many Latinos have a fantasy heritage. And the US is a perfect place to entertain those fantasies given its history of white supremacy. Fantasy heritage is a term coined by Dr. Frank Perez at University of Texas, El Paso. And as Paula Ramos writes in her book, it's the idea that when the situation calls for it, many Latinos can prioritize their whiteness and erase the specificity of their indigeneity. Proximity to whiteness leads to the erasure of indigeneity. This is one of my favorite quotes. The delusions of fantasy heritage can easily morph any semblance of indigeneity and darkness into whiteness, thus turning Latinos into the ultimate conquistador. It is much easier to embrace fantasy heritage than to deal with the complicated, violent, and messy past that we have with race. So just like Don Quixote, we believe we're a noble conquistador instead of someone fighting our own mind.
Because I've been thinking a lot about this, and I know it's going to be controversial, but I'm actually rooting for Latinas and Latinos who voted for Trump. I really am. I really hope that they get everything that they voted for, and I hope that they never forget who they voted for. So when they're waving goodbye to their undocumented partner because they got deported back, I want them to remember who they voted for. When their abuelita needs life-saving care, but there is no Medicaid because it's been slashed to the bone, I want them to remember who they voted for. When they watch their nieces and nephews struggle because birthright citizenship is gone and all of a sudden their family isn't welcome, I want them to remember who they voted for. When they have a child with special needs but there's no funding, no resources, no Department of Education, I want them to remember who they voted for. When all of a sudden their family's neighborhood is targeted with more policing instead of community support, I want them to remember who they voted for. When there's no money for your family but a whole bunch for billionaires, I want them to remember who they voted for. When environmental protections vanish and the air is so disgustingly polluted that their kids develop asthma or something similar, I want them to remember who they voted for. When discrimination increases and they are harassed incessantly because they will never be white, I want them to remember who they voted for. Call me petty, but sometimes getting exactly what you voted for is the only way to understand it.
This is a message to the Latinos for Trump and any other Republicans that voted for Trump. I'm going to start with the message to the Latinos first, and then I'll get to the other people. First of all, I want to start by saying that, I wanted to do this video immediately after the election when I found out the results. But I found myself using words and terms that are not conducive to relaying a good message. So I decided to wait. I'm still probably going to use a couple of those words, but it's not going to be near as bad as it would have been had I posted that original video. So you voted for a man who doesn't care about you at all. And he's made it very clear. Whenever he talks about the immigrants and he calls them rapists and murderers, killers, and garbage and scum and the worst, they're sending their worst over here, he's talking about you too, and me. Because to him, we're all the same. If he was walking down the street and he saw you and one of the people that had just crossed the border, he wouldn't be able to tell you apart. And to him, it doesn't make a difference. We're all the same. They don't care. They just want to get rid of the immigrants. And I don't know if you know this or not, but there's a man named Stephen Miller that's probably going to be on Trump's cabinet. He's going to be one of his cabinet members, and he's going to be in charge of the deportation actions, right? And that man, Stephen Miller, wants to change the laws so that they can take away naturalization. You think that that piece of paper that you have, if you have it, if you've become a naturalized citizen, you think that piece of paper makes you different. But in their eyes, you're not different. I was born here, and I'm not different to them, to those people. The way they think, I'm just like all the rest of them. To them, I'm the same. So that piece of paper is not going to save you. And they're trying to make laws now. They're in the process of figuring out what they have to do to change the law to take away that naturalization citizenship. They're also looking into taking away natural born citizens, people who came here and had kids here that were born here. They're looking to take that away as well. Unless you were born here to legal citizens, that's the only way you're going to get to stay, if they have their way. Now, there were thousands of people on TikTok trying to warn you about that, what that man really was. I was on here not making videos, but I was on here posting comments and texting people and talking to people on here and trying to get them to understand who that man really is. But y'all chose to ignore it. I don't know what it is you thought you were accomplishing by voting for that man. You think that they're going to see you as an equal, or, you know, they're going to treat you like a white man or whatever. No, you fucked up. They're going to get you out of here. All they wanted was your vote. They got it now. They don't need you anymore. And they're looking to get you out of here. Right? Now, I don't know how they're going to do that. Maybe somebody in his cabinet can convince him, hey, it's not a good idea to deport these people. They're a big portion of our workforce. And if we deport them, the economy is going to go to shit. I don't know. Maybe they can convince him. And if they do, well, lucky you. But if they don't, you are the prime target. And you voted for it, even though we tried to warn you. So anything that happens to you, it's your own goddamn fault. You voted for it. That's what you wanted. That's what you're going to get. I have no sympathy for you. Sorry. You know, for all of you who didn't vote for him, I'm sorry that you're going to have to go through this. I truly am sorry. And that's my message to the Latinos for Trump. You won. Congratulations. You might get your ass deported back to Mexico or wherever you came from. Congratulations. Now, to the rest of you that voted for Trump, you sold out your country for the price of eggs, the price of gasoline, interest rate on loans, the price of houses. You were too selfish and too fucking greedy to do the right thing. No, you wanted to do something for yourself. Fuck the country. Well, you screwed yourself and the rest of us in the process. That man is too stupid to run this country. If he does what he's planning to do with the tariffs, you think prices were high under Biden? You're about to find out how high they can go. You're going to have to choose between groceries and rent. If you're already in that situation, I'm sorry for you. But if you were in that situation and you voted for Trump, well, then you just fucked yourself even more, because it's going to get worse. If you believe what that man told you about tariffs, that he can bring prices down by using tariffs, you're fucking stupid too. He's an idiot, and you're even dumber for believing him, because that's not the way tariffs work. And it takes a little bit of research, and you can figure that out. It doesn't take long. You can find it right away, and you can see who pays the price for tariffs. It's not the country that's selling the goods, and it's not the country that's buying the goods, right? It's the people that are, the manufacturers that are ordering that product, and they're going to turn that cost over to you. They're not going to eat it. They're going to pass it over to the consumer, which is you and me. So you did this to yourself. You thought that Trump could lower the price of eggs and gas, and I don't know why you thought that. People were on here, I saw that too. People were on here trying to tell you that's not how it works. It's not going to do anything. Trump's telling you all this bullshit, and you're buying it, you're believing it. Why do you think General Milley and all these other people that were in his cabinet were out here trying to warn you? You guys claim, oh, he got fired by Trump, that's why he's talking shit about him. No. They were talking shit about Trump because Trump is a fucking idiot. Because he's fucking dangerous. Because he doesn't know what he's doing. That's why they were talking shit about him. It's got nothing to do with them being fired. They were trying to warn us. They were trying to tell us the man is dangerous. Now, some of us heard that message, and we heeded that message because we know how stupid he is. And we chose to believe the lifetime veteran, decorated combat veteran, over the pathological liar. There were dozens of people in his cabinet, dozens, that were all telling you the same thing. And you chose to believe the one liar in the group. The one pathological liar is the one you chose to believe. So it's your own damn fault. I was on this app trying to tell people you cannot trust a pathological liar. They lie all the time. Everything they tell you is a lie. He was fear-mongering and lying to you, and you bought it. Well, to you as well, You think you won. The only thing you won was the election. You lost your country. You lost your self-respect. You lost your freedom. If Trump does all the things that he said he was going to do, we're in for a world of hurt. All of us. All of us. Hopefully we can survive it, but I don't think we're going to be able to. That man is a total idiot. And if they don't have anyone watching him and steering him in the right direction, we are all screwed. But hey, you did it. I'm going to be here to remind you about it. Hopefully I don't have to leave the country, but if it comes to that, I'm ready. I've got an out. Hopefully you do too. Have a good day.
Mi gente, this is going to blow your mind. And I'm mad at myself that I didn't know this before, right? But the story I'm about to tell you, by the way, I'm going to give credit to the content creator that did a whole 2-part dossier on this stuff, okay? But when I learned this, and I knew bits and part of this, but the content creator put it in a whole picture for me. Because I had heard things throughout my lifetime that I didn't quite understand. However, because Puerto Ricans are automatically considered citizens, right? So when it comes to everybody else, I didn't know. But you do know that Cuban Americans, or at least the cliche is, that Cuban Americans look down at every other immigrant coming from everywhere else, right? It's always been the perception that they're the gold standard for immigrants, right? But anyway, like I said, go look at her video in total. So there's this thing called the Cuban Adjustment Act, right? And in that act, there are some special provisions just for Cubans that are not given to any other immigrants. Go figure, right? Now, let's just say that a Cuban comes over from Cuba, lands on the United States. Under that Cuban Adjustment Act, they automatically qualify for 8 months of public assistance. So they get a welfare check for 8 months, right? And they also qualified for Medicaid, medical. It doesn't matter what's wrong. It allows them to go into the hospital, allows them to have doctor's appointment. Now think about it, that's 8 months. 4 months later, after being in the US for just 1 year, they automatically qualify for residency or for a green card. And once they qualify for that, they automatically have access to all the benefits all other Americans have worked for. And here's where this gets a little bit interesting. I heard one time, right? Someone said this to me, and I didn't quite understand, and I should have, inquired some more, right? But someone said to me, you know, a grandmother from Cuba could come over here, and without having worked a day in her life, she automatically qualifies for SSI. Now I understand how. So once they're here a year, they qualify for all your other benefits. And so I want you to understand that no other immigrant coming from anywhere else gets this type of assistance. And it really blows my mind that they would look down on anyone knowing that they don't have to work so hard for their citizenship. But you want to know the most interesting part of this that blew my goddamn motherfucking mind? Is that from 1966-76, Carter, Obama, Biden, it all was passed because of Democratic presidents. Democrats is what made this possible for them. Because it was a Democratic president with a Democratic House and a Senate both times that it came up in question. When it first was passed, it was both Democrats. And when I go and I look at the statistics of how many Cuban Americans voted for Trump, it's sitting at 68%. And he won Miami-Dade, by the way. Ain't that some goddamn bullshit? Oh, my God. I'm speechless. So here's the thing. I don't know if y'all know, I said it in another video. There's a fuck around and find out TikTok. I cannot wait until Stephen Miller and Trump evaluate how much money they have invested into the Cuban American community and know that it was a Democrat that did it. You know that shit is going in the trash quicker than you can say trash. Shaking my goddamn head. Mi gente. And I just want to add one more tidbit. Y'all did know that Mexico owned 15% of the United States that was given up in treaties, just so that you know. A portion of our lands was theirs. I'm done.
With Trump rhetoric of the southern border of migrants, why would the Latino population support him in such a way?
Well, think about it like this. Maybe you and I always identify as a Latina, and when I do that, I always think about the fact that my parents are Cuban exiles and Mexican immigrants, right? But there is a sector of Latinos that don't want to see themselves in that way, do not want to see themselves lumped with other immigrants. So even if we think about how the Latino community has changed in the last 20, 30 years, we're talking about a community now that is a lot more Americanized and assimilated. Most of the Latino voting bloc is under the age of 50, U.S. born. Hablamos en inglés, no en español. And so that
I understood that.
I was testing you. But all this to say that...
I don't know how to respond, but I understood.
¿Quieres seguir en español? ¿Hablamos?
Yo hablo muy malo español.
Anyways, long story short, I think what Trumpism does really well is when they think about that Latino voting bloc, they're betting on this one idea. And that is the fact that there are some Latinos that are so Americanized and assimilated now that they too will sort of buy into the nativism. That they too will really look at hear the words, send them back, and not at all see themselves reflected in that them.
Okay, y'all, so did y'all hear that story about this Latino guy? He's Latino. And he made it known here on TikTok that, he voted for Trump and he's a Trump supporter and everything like that. Well, in his neighborhood, there's a white guy across the street, like his neighbor or whatever. And I guess they never really had any words or anything, but since this Latino guy, since he, voted for Trump or whatever, his kids wanted to go over and play with this white guy's kids, the white neighbor, right? The white neighbor was like, no, get the hell out of here, and pulled out a pew-pew on him. And then shot the pew-pew twice up in the air and told him that he was not welcome in the neighborhood. And he was not welcome over on his property. So now this Latino guy is looking real stupid. So now he's been posting this video about the situation all over the internet. Like he's been posting it on TikTok and all on Instagram and stuff like that, expecting people to feel sorry for him. That's what you get. I find it ironic. That's what you get. He lucky the white guy didn't shoot his ass. Because if he had a shot him, the white guy wouldn't have went to jail. He wouldn't have went to jail. But that's what y'all voted for. Y'all gonna learn. Y'all Latinos, whoever y'all are, Trump supporters, y'all are going to learn. If you are not white, if you are not a part of the white supremacy group, you are going to learn the hard way. You are going to be put back in your place, one way or the other, by those who have decided that you are not one of them. Let this be a lesson.
I can't believe that the Latinos voted for Trump. I can. I believe it 100%. Girl, y'all have to stop acting like it is just Cubans that are racist and conservative in the Latino community. Coming from a Colombian girl. Look at the politics of Colombia. Yes, I know our president is like more left-leaning this time and very progressive. But, girl, look at the politics and the history. Look at their stances on abortion. I know she's decriminalized. However, that just means that you can't go to jail if you get an abortion, okay? Or if you're a doctor that conducts an abortion. That does not fucking mean that it is socially accepted. Turn on Telemundo. You tell me how many people of color you see on Telemundo. You tell me how many brown and black people you see on that show. Tell me if they're casting. Turn on Caracol. Tell me how many people of color you see on there. Like, I don't want to hear it that we're this progressive community. We're not. So yeah, I 100% believe it. And for all of these freaking people who are Latinos that voted for Trump, I'm gonna hold your hand when I say this. He doesn't like you. He never liked you. And he's never gonna respect you. And if y'all weren't born here, he's gonna try and find a way to get you deported. So congratulations for looking stupid.
Oh, you can't just blame Latino voters. Like, yes, the fuck I can. And I say that with my immigrant-ass passport, okay? Yes, you can blame the campaign. Yes, you can blame the party. But at the end of the day, there's this little thing called personal accountability. In 2016, I was a little bit more lenient because, okay, people just don't know. They don't understand the consequences. But we lived through that presidency. What I'm hearing now, even from immigrants, undocumented immigrants, because yes, if you have TPS, if you have DACA, you're still undocumented under federal law. Oh, it wasn't that bad under Trump. Oh, Trump's not gonna do anything. Oh, he didn't do anything last time. Oh, yes, he didn't. He tried. The only thing that stopped him was a full resistance movement that filed lawsuits for every single one of his executive orders. What really gets me is that a lot of people who have undocumented family or themselves are undocumented will ultimately need the help of other people who told y'all, don't let this man back in office. Relying on people like myself who have been doing immigration advocacy for years, it generally makes me not want to do this shit anymore. Like next year, a lot of us are going to be helping people that couldn't even help themselves by voting for their best interest. You know where gas really going to be cheap? In fucking Mexico. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, there you have it, guys. Thank you very much for watching the compilations. First, let's talk about why Latinos voted for Trump in the first place. Trump's campaign wasn't just about walls and deportation. It was cleverly packed to appeal to conservative values that resonate deeply in many Latino communities: family, faith, and a strong sense of hard work. For some, it wasn't just about Trump. It was about rejecting the fear of socialism, especially among Cuban and Venezuelan Americans who've seen their homelands ravaged by corruption regimes. Trump messaging made him seem like a protector of freedom, even if his policies told a different story. We saw this clearly in the 2020 election. In places like Florida and Texas, Trump made significant gains with Latino voters, particularly in areas with a history of conservatives leaning. For these voters, Trump wasn't just a candidate. He was a symbol of patriotism and American dream. But now, many are asking themselves, was it all a lie? The policies that have sparked the growing regret. One of the most alarming is Trump's focus on mass deportation during his administration. We saw increased ICE raids in Latino communities, and now with talk of even more aggressive deportation measures in the future plans, many families are terrified. These aren't just abstract ideas. These are policies that could rip families apart, especially in mixed status households where some members are undocumented, others are permanent resident, or others are US citizens. But it doesn't stop there. Trump's administration also laid the groundwork for something called denaturalization. That's right, revoking citizenship. Task forces were created to scrutinize naturalization applications for minor errors, looking for any excuse to strip people of their hard-earned citizenship. And who's most affected by this? Latino immigrants who came to the US decades ago and believed they were safe. Imagine building your life in the US, raising your family and contributing to the society, only to be told years later that your citizenship doesn't count because of a technicality. For many MAGA Latinos, this is the moment they're realizing that Trump's America might not include them after all. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more conversations like this. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next episode.